Hello, hello, hello! Welcome, everyone, to the stream. It is for FPR1. Don't forget the one at the end, it's very important. I'm just waiting a little moment whilst I think the lobby should be getting going shortly. We'll switch over to the new screen and we've got some new fancy snazzy stuff, although this is still pretty basic. Hopefully we'll get some proper stuff later on. No guarantees are out, but we're slowly getting there with the better streams, so hopefully all will go swimmingly. And as always, let me know if there's any issues. No, we're still in the lobby, still waiting to go. It's 8 o'clock, so it should be going, well, 1 minute past 8, so they're a minute late. Let's blame them for being off time. Only they can manage that. You guys will also have to help me out with the audio levels. This is a new setup-ish. I can't actually hear it. I can't actually hear any game sounds, so I won't be able to tell what's happening like, so you'd have to help me out as we wait for these lads to get going. So, we are here for FPR Season 1. This is Race 5. Obviously, I missed streaming out the last 2 races as I was away. And now, I'm back on, cracking on with it. And like I said from the last stream when I was doing Silverstone, for Race 2, I said I would aim to switch up and start streaming from PC, and well, here I am. We're switching it up. We're upgrading. Or downgrading, depending on how well this goes. Who knows? But hopefully all will go well, and hopefully we don't have any issues. Just a quick rundown of some of the rules of this league. It is as you can see by the screen. Oh, thank you very much for that. As you see by the screen, we have a short qualifying session followed up by a 100% race, all whilst being on realistic performance. And as always, massive shout out to the admins for setting this up absolutely perfectly, and so far having it rather spot on with the car allocations, as I believe we're finally starting to get going as some people are readying up. Obviously, I actually haven't, well, as I think race 3 wasn't streamed, fortunately, you can only apologise for that. I think race 4 was, if I can remember off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that. And I will try and find out for you who streamed that, if they have. I'll look through in the background whilst I also still set up all my other visuals, because I'm multitasking like a genius, getting this set up literally the last 30 minutes and trying to get this set up. Once we do that, let me switch over to another screen, the stats screen. Here we've got the standings. I can only apologise for the quality of the picture for the standings. I did try and play with it a little bit, but I couldn't quite get it perfect, so apologies if you can't read it or having a little bit of trouble reading it. I'll see if I can get a better one for next time. Bit of the trap map, the 3 DRS around this extraordinarily high-speed street circuit, which is showing a fair share of action in the real Formula 1, and also in a fair few of the league races associated with this league. Obviously, FPR100 and FGR. I had to think about that one then. That could have been bad. Should see plenty of action and sort of some in-depth strategy. The strategy is probably going to be big, but not too big around here. It's going to be a lot more focused on the consistency element, because it's very easy to get some of these corners incorrect. Anyway, took a few of the standards at the moment. THC leads with I believe it's even I'm struggling to read it from right fucking front of the screen, Jesus Christ, with an 11-point gap to the car behind, which is Robbo, who is yet to win a race, actually. That is surprising. I thought he had. I guess he's also with the mud banter. Obviously, the points are obviously based on the these are not based on the official F1 scoring system. It is a lot different to that. You get points for, well, finishing the race. Finish the race, you'll get a point. So, don't rage quit. Just don't do it. it sucks. And you miss out on points, which every point matters. As THC knows, with his win in the first one, a shocker in Silverstone, and obviously that run has picked up with another win. We won. Thank you very much. Hello there. Robbo in second, like I say. Axel third. He's got a few FLs there, you can see by the purple. Look at Clem. He's not going to be here with us, unfortunately, this race. He's turned up to 3 out of the 5, and he's sat in 4th place with Spread catching him. 5th on 54 points there. 64 actually. Like I say, apologise for the bad quality of the pictures there. We'll improve them eventually. Anyway, let's switch over as we are now in the session. Cars are now coming out on track. Let's get everything whacked up on here. Don't need tyre details. I think everyone's going to be on the soft tyres for short qualifying session. They'll need to really be using the mediums, especially with the 100% race. You don't really want to be wasting those tyres, as they're going to be crucial for the race strategy. Out on with Bolton, the first person out on the track in the Williams. Which means he must be absolutely rapid. But we'll obviously find out. Now, this track notoriously quite difficult, especially in the corners. They're obviously very fast flowing, a lot of them mid to high speed. A couple of slow speed corners in terms of turn 1 and 2. Final corner, slightly low, slightly slow speed by the entry angle, but also winds up quite nicely onto the start finish straight, where we see probably quite a few overtakes, hopefully, in the main race. Williams over here preparing his start of his final, entering towards the final corner. We're going to stay on board with him as he's the first person out. Lovely helmet, by the way, there. Anyway, enough of the helmets. Here we go then. ERS and DRS are waxed on as he crosses the line to start his first flying lap. Now heading towards turn 1, one of the hardest braking zones on the track. Down it into first gear for the extra turn in there. Interesting. A little bit of a hesitation on the back end there, so I lost it a little bit with the steering inputs there, but navigated it quite well. Don't want to run too wide onto the slightly raised curb there. And then this has got to be absolutely inch perfect on the steering. You cannot go wrong, otherwise you'll either send flying off or go wide there as he did, but I think he managed to just avoid validation there. That all seems like it was on regular there. That would always get me for that. That's unbelievable things. Williams hacks getting deployed already. Bubbles up to 1, obviously, because he's the first car out. And pretty difficult braking zone around there, but he's navigated that quite well. Now flying onto the first DRS bit here. Keeping it close to the walls, and you've got to pick your braking point pretty quickly as you go around the little blind curve there. You can use a bit of the curb on the exit of that corner, but not too much. Now, and second DRS straight, or curve should I say, going towards the final corner here. Car just up ahead. I think he's going to get a nice little bit of a slipstream. Avoids the apex there. Interesting. And then he's tucking in to get that little bit of a distant toe from the car ahead, but it's not going to do too much. Cross the line, sets the pace of a 1:29.8. First person to set our lap so far. Got one of the Mercedes, and I'll say one of the Mercedes, he's also invalidated. Banter. We're going to go into the other Mercedes, his teammate Scott. As THC sets the new pace, 1.3 seconds quicker than Bolton. THC, the championship leader, was quickest, has now been beaten by Kamarov in the AlphaTauri 28.3. His teammate Phantom Dragon is on with a 29.0. Trying to multitask, shouldn't be doing that. Focus on one thing at once. I'm a man, I can't multitask. It's impossible. Anywho, cross the line with the other Mercedes. He goes quickest at 28.3. 28.35, only slightly quicker than the AlphaTauri of Kamarov. But that's good thing. It's got, well, we actually usually tend to struggle with connection rather than pace. He has got really good pace, and if he keeps it out of trouble, he's got a good, could be a strong contender for a potential podium, perhaps. Here we go, Hilly come through around the final corner in the lovely McLaren, sticking it as close to the inside as possible. He goes even quicker, 28.0. These times are just absolutely flying past us as we go with the Ferrari of Bolts. Chucking it around the corners there, and almost looks a little bit unsettled on the curb there, maybe taking a little bit too much than he would have wanted. And then we got this slightly banked corner. I actually really do like this corner. I think it's very nice, especially if you get it nice and right and spot on. Feels lovely, if I say so myself. Tricky braking zone around here. Keep it in 5th gear and blasting it on the power. Fuel might be an issue. I can't remember off the top of my head if it is, but I think it might be a bit of a difficulty considering you flat out very much. User can pee off. Hate these bots that do this. Your way. Disturbing this lap as he goes through the final corner, taking it much tighter to the inside rather than the Williams there. Robbo goes quickest, 27.9. Mercedes goes back on top. The first one into the 127s, what Ferrari does. Goes P9 behind his teammate by 10th with 129.2. A couple more people coming out on track, the likes of Matt, Dystopian, and Axel, the other Williams. With Axel sitting in P3 in the championship. Thought I saw something quite disturbing then, Thought I saw something quite disturbing. Oh, hello. Mute that. That's almost bad. We're off to a great start, aren't we? I have an excuse, it's been 2 weeks since I've done it. Anywho, I'm not staying out of the way for the draft, didn't realise he wasn't on a lap there. But Dystopian is in the Aston Martin. Looks good in that, does the Aston. I think in the night races the Aston Martin looks very good. In day, not so much, but stands out a lot more in the night. Car's getting well out of the way. Hopefully he doesn't have a lapse of concentration around the first of the tricky bits of this track. Before heading to the end of sector 132.9. Does in sector 1 get some yellow flags? I think lots of people going a bit slow. Just to prepare their laps, I believe, that Ferrari. Or it might be one that's coming into the pits actually. Nearly like everyone opting to use 5th gear through there. I have to admit sometimes I do use 4th, but I am pretty crap at this game, so don't trust my judgments on what gear to use. It'll be a bad idea, you'll end up in the wall. Right, ever follow my advice, it's very bad. Oh, speaking of the wall, he definitely touched the wall there. That could shed a bit of time, especially because it's on towards the straight. Cut off a little bit of speed. Braking for the far corner, and ooh, that got a bit hairy. That is definitely what we want to be doing, locking up and just losing the rear on turn in. And that's going to cost him a lot of time, and that's a 130 dead. That's not a very good lap from the Aston Martin. Hopefully he can do better. What can the Haas do as we go back with Matt? He showed a pretty good pace in races that I've seen at least. Flying through the corners. Purple sector 2 according to the game as he enters sector 3. He's absolutely fine around those corners after a bit. He's got full balls to the walls. As does McLaren getting out of the way of the Aston in the background as the yellow flags are out. Going into the final corner, heavy braking into 3rd. He gets right up close to that wall, almost Max Verstappen close, just without hitting it. Banter, that could have been a great lap, wouldn't it? Across the line, and it's only P9 of 28.8. as Axel currently holds quickest lap. I didn't actually notice that. I was a bit too distracted by something else. We've got Jesus! Wow! Were you? What do you know about that? We have Jesus on the track. You don't get that anywhere else. That's a selling point for the league. We've got Jesus driving for us. You've got driving. Mind you, we have got spread, so that kind of drags it down a little bit. Banter. Anyway, Jesus is flying, so to say at least, in the Alpine. Now, Alpine, whatever you call it. I think everyone calls it Alpine. Bit weird if you did. As he comes into the final corner there, fuel warning light, so he's running onto the edge, stays away from that inside wall and gets closer to the outside wall. So a few different drivers pick a few different lines through the final corner there, but across the line it puts himself at P11. Only 500ths of Matt there, so it's pretty close at the moment. Top 11 really, or top 12 even. Not much separated. The gap's a little bit bigger at the top, I have to admit. Two people in the 127s there for now. Spriggs, the P2 merchant, sitting in P4. But he didn't get known for his P2 merchant in qualifying. It's for the race he's a bit of a merchant. Huh? Anyhow, Spriggs round the curved corner there, attempting to start off sector 2. Is he on a lap? It's hard to tell with you. I don't think he's on a lap actually. No, he's charging. Never mind. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm doing. Very difficult to keep track of what's going on. We've got camera off though. He is on a lap. Yes, he is. He's on a lap, but never mind. He's invalidated. I immediately went on him and applied the pressure. Camera has dropped down to P9 though, and that invalidation isn't going to do him any good. I'll see this is short qualifying. We've got 5 minutes and 50 seconds left of this session. A couple of people there down the grid needs to put a lot to get into 28s ideally. I think we might see, well, we might actually see nearly everyone in the 28s, 29s at least. And will we see a few more people creep up to the likes of 27s and challenge the likes of Hilly and Axel? Oh, actually, Hilly actually did improve, I have to admit. He shot up into P2 with the 27.8. On board through this tricky bit. We took a lot of inside curve, but he's gone well away with that. And Jesus has got a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Oh dear. Jesus couldn't quite part the seas for whoever he blocked there. That was a terrible line, and I am not apologising for it because that's banter. Anywho, continuing on with the McLaren of KZA. Getting close to the walls there. DRS wide open as he heads towards the blind braking zone here. Brake as late as possible, turn in as sharp as you can without losing the back end, and that's looking quite comfortable so far. Not a lot of ERS left in the battery there for KZA, and that will affect performance going down at this start to finish straight rounding the final corner here. Getting right up to the curb but not right up to the wall. DRS wide open. Going to come across the line. Is he going to improve? He does improve by 3 tenths, but it doesn't improve his position. He stays down in P15. Meanwhile, we've got most of the guys in the pits, and some of them now starting to come out for their final run of this qualifying session. Continuing further down, we've got the likes of Bolton back out on track and on a lap. Currently down on his time by a 10.5 though in sector 1. We'll see if he can improve during sector 2. If not, we'll try and see if there's anyone else out on track. THC, Bolts and Misfits all looking like they're starting laps, or on a lap at the very minimum. Yellow flag's just up ahead, but I don't think there's anything too wrong going on. That's just a Ferrari going slow and staying well out of the way. DRS wide open for the final time, heading towards the final corner. He went wide this time. Let's see what he does this time. Is he going to keep to that wide line? No, he goes much closer to the inside wall there. I tend to think that might be the better line to take in qualifying. As he comes across the line, does improve by 2/10, but it's not enough to improve his position. He stays P16. Meanwhile, THC Championship leader preparing for another lap by the looks of things. Misfits has also come across the line. He stays 8th. Kamarov, Scott and Hugh has come out. I apologise if I butcher your name. Looking around, see if anyone else. Most people coming back out. Franz, Dystopian, Jesus after a five-place grid penalty. That were a mouthful, wasn't it? Axel also now comes out for the Williams. Hilly staying in the pits though at the moment. Is he calling it there, or is he going to come out very last minute? He's leaving this a little bit too close for comfort. It's not exactly a short track. Anyway, Red Bull going through sector 1. This is the tricky bit. Gets a little bit of curve on both the inside and outside there, but it's looking extremely well limited there in terms of the track. A little bit of a cheeky toe, and it's up by 400ths. Does need to find more time if he wants to challenge it. I mean, it is very close, I will have to admit, between P5 and well, all the way to P14 now. Whereas you got the other guys who are just THC improving to P4 27.9 even. Traffic being very well behaved so far. Dabble their brakes, and it's looking very quick there. Purple sector, who knows? Coming into the final corner, there's a cow just jumping out of the way just in time there. A couple of people retiring, which means that their qualifying session is over. P11 bolts, P15 KZA. Where is Hugh gonna go? Coming across the line now, and he goes P3. Jumps up ahead against Robbo. Robbo is also out on track at the moment. He's just starting his final flying lap of the session. Axel also starting his final flyer. F's just a big, massive struggle. F is a very big, massive struggle at the moment. Can only apologise. Anyway, we stay on board with Axel, the current pole sitter so far. Hilly also came out on track very late. He is very much up against the time to start his final flying lap. 15 seconds remain. Going through the rest of sector 1. Is he going to be up on his time? He is up by 1/10. This could be a pretty quick lap if you manage just to nail the rest of this track. Let the car run wide towards the exit of the corner and then just stick it as close to the inside of the wall as you can. A little dab of the brakes. Keeps it in 6th gear. This time drops it to 5th for the little bit of extra push on acceleration. First DRS straight coming up. Cars absolutely everywhere, but they are being extremely well behaved. And Hilly missed out on starting another lap, so he is in P2. Who else could possibly challenge for pole position here? We'll find out as a lot more cars come across the line. Jesus, P11 staying on board with the Williams though. We've got on our broadcast camera heading down towards the final corner. Deep on the brakes. 3rd gear getting it nicely rotated. Right up against the wall there. Is he going to go even quicker? He's got a lovely car, a little bit of a toe up ahead, and he does. It's a 27.5. Marginal improvements. Robbo across the line stays 4th. THC stays 5th. It's now down to Spread, who's unfortunately invalidated. Got the other Ferrari, who's not going on a lap at the moment. Got AlphaTauri here coming around the final corner. It looks like it might be a done deal for Axel unless there's any of these guys in the background able to do it. Matt isn't able to. He stays 14th. What can this AlphaTauri do? He improves up to P9. Knocking Kamarov all the way down in P11. Now that is a shock. What can Franz Piper do? He is 8 seconds down. He's going into the pits. That's what he's going to do. So there you have it, your grid for today's race. Axel takes pole position ahead of Hilly, who just missed out on doing his final flying lap. Quite unfortunate. And he, with an absolutely amazing performance there, puts himself P3 just ahead of Robbo. That is very close. The top 5 separated by about 4/10 there. And it's a second separating the top 13 even there. So, as always, very close in qualifying. Are we going to see our usual huge DRS trains that we have been getting every other race I've commentated on so far? Don't know what happened in the other two, obviously I've missed out. I imagine Monza was pretty much a huge DRS train all the way through. Confirmation there that Jesus has a 5-place grid penalty, which will see him starting all the way down in P17. Whereas the other Alpine is P5 THC, doing quite well, championship leader as it stands, only by 11 points. Robbo Axel looking to close that gap and gain some good points here. Pole position is very key, and it's by 3/10. I think that might be the biggest pole margin I've seen so far. As I just have a look into other screens, see what's going on here. Hopefully, looking like we're being so far so good. Haven't seen any other issues. 6 viewers, wow, thank you very much, people. I think that might be the current record. Thank you very much, guys. Bolt says, prepare for my fantastical cock-ups. Ah, don't worry. Well, there's plenty to go around. Spreads in the session, don't worry about it. Again, I just want to point out all this just random bantering against spread. It is just banter. Don't read into it. Unless you want to, then yeah, go for it. So, as usual, there'll be a 5-minute break before we head into the race. I believe it is 50 laps, and it's going to be 50 laps of a rather large amount of concentration, and I mean a seriously large amount of concentration. The amount of corners and walls that come at you at hundreds of miles an hour is... There's going to be a few people with some very hurt eyes after this race, put it that way. There's not going to be many blinks. Like literally a blink of an eye, and you could be ended up in the wall with about 3 other cars, because this is going to be a very close session indeed. I tell you what, look at that guy right there. He is very excited to watch cars on the grid. Look at him, throwing his hands in the air. And then the rest of the crowd get involved there. Oh wow. Thanks for the detail, Codemasters. Thanks for the detail. It's obviously when you're on the grid and actually racing, it's not really easy to notice all that extra stuff in the background. But when you're on the spectator image and you get a nice up close of the pit lane like this, it is just almost comical looking at the crowd detailing. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter for a game like this, but I mean, it is just a little bit funny looking at that, isn't it? I tell you what, that guy is extremely excited. That must be the most happiest person in the world, that. I'm going to call him Dave. Alright, Dave. I'm absolutely waffling now, aren't I? Let's get on to some more interesting stuff. We'll go into the race director to see what tyre... Ooh, hello. We've got all kinds of crazy mixture of tyres here. We got Sauce for THC. He's going aggressive early on into this race. We've got a lot of medium runners. A couple of people on hards as well. We've got anyone else on Sauce? No, it's just THC. It's sticking with the soft tyres for now. That's rather interesting, that. So a quick run through of your starting grid for today's race. We have Axel on pole position, the head of Hilly, who will join him alongside on the front row of the grid. Onto the second row we have Hugh with the Red Bull. Fantastic lap from him, with Robbo Snipes just missing out on that position. P4 for him. THC started 5th alongside Master Spread. Then we have Scott, Spriggs, Phantom Dragon, Misfits I should say, Sergeant Kamarov down P11, that is quite a shock performance, but he said earlier on that he hasn't been able to do much practice and he's not on his usual rig today, so getting the excuses out early, that's for sure. Bolts preparing for his cock-ups down in P12. We have Matt P13, KZA P14 for the McLaren. Bolton struggling in the Williams down in P15. Franz Piper in P16, I think their highest qualified position since the start of this league. Jesus Christ has managed to get himself a 5-place group penalty. Sees him started down in P17, Dystopian in P18. And a little PSA, I don't take any religious names personal, it's just jokes and bants. To prefer anything you hear, just don't take them literally. It's all jokes and bants. Don't worry about it. Just waiting now for the guys to ready up. Whenever they are doing so. Can't actually never even check the time when they're going to do that. Going at past, which is now 20:31. Which here we go. The guys are now getting ready for the formation lap. Like I say, 50 laps. This is going to be a long race, and I believe the strategy will be a 2-stop, if I remember correctly. If not, I apologise. It'll be a 1-stop or a 3-stop if someone's feeling ambiguous. Let's get our detailing up and confirmation of people who will be tyres. So, top 4 starting on the medium tyres, and then we've got THC going aggressive into the first part of this race with the soft compound tyres, and then we have Spread, Scott, Spriggs and Phantom Dragon all starting on the medium compound tyres before we get to our first hard runner on Misfits. And Cameron starting on the mediums, Bolts and Matt also starting on the hards, KZA also going aggressive with the soft tyres, and Bolton all the way down to the Dystopian starting on medium compound tyres. Leading the formation lap then, the Williams of Axel, and the back of the grid Dystopian actually pretty shocked that he's all the way at the back of the grid there. As you've seen, he's had some few issues going into that final corner, so it could see him struggle this race, or we might not even see him finish the race at all. So we wait of the forming up of the grid. Obviously you might not see too many people doing weaving, as I think in reality of this game that trail braking just warms up the tyres a lot better than weaving, which I think should have been changed really quickly on. Really, I think it's a little bit unrealistic. I think weaving should do a little bit more tyre warp than it currently does, which it really does nothing at the moment. It's alright for the rears, and speaking of rears, that was a Red Bull spinning into the pit lane. Oh dear, Drivers now lining up on the grid. I think we're about to see a Red Bull go through everyone in a moment. That's not a good camera angle. Can I get a better camera angle? Oh, let's hope it changes on the starting lights. Otherwise, that could be problematic. We may have to go on board with someone starting in P4 maybe. Waiting for the Aston Martin to line up, not the Aston, the Jesus to line up on the grid there. And we are all having a bit of a moment. It is 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's the lights out and away we go for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. It is a pretty shocking start for the Mercedes, and Already challenging into turn 1 is Hilly. The goal was going to make contact there, but they get through nice and safely further back. There's Alpine making moves on the Alpha Romeo, but they're going tangling side by side. THC losing their position so far. Spread up to P5. The other Alfa Romeo challenging THC as well, so those soft tyres haven't really worked out at the moment. All clean getaway from the top 4 though, managing to hold on to their positions. Further back, the Alfa Romeo gone a little bit wide there, allowing the other cars to come into the back there, but nothing major happening. Everyone getting through nice and cleanly. That is absolutely amazing to see, considering it's Saudi Arabia and it gets a bit tight. Bolton making a move on the Ferrari down the inside. That is absolutely amazing. Ferrari's going to be going wheel to wheel almost. On board with Bolts, as he's just having to back away a bit there, and looking like he's really struggling for tyre temperature on those hard compound tyres. He's going to have to work them especially hard on the opening stint. Meanwhile, in the background, Jesus is getting past the McLaren. Is a sentence I never thought I'd be saying ever. Oh dear. Meanwhile, Spriggs is a second behind THC, and he's got a few cars in the background having a fight. That's Kamarov and Matt in the Haas. I think Kamarov making a move for P10, and across the line for the first lap of the race. The Misfits getting past Bolton in the Williams. Axel leads from 1 second gap to Hilly at the moment, and side by side, Rob takes the P3 there from the Rebel. Just missed out on that, just apologies there. Meanwhile, THC starting to look a little bit more racy now. Not the start he really wanted. He's lost a position, and now look at this. Spread is right all over the back of the Rebel and the Mercedes after the little tussle they had into turn 1 there. Looking down the rest of the group, we have Scott getting very close. A little bit out of shape, and actually here we go. Kamarov's now going to make the move onto Scott. They're going to go side by side into the curved corner there, and Kamarov is much further up ahead, although going for the inside line is Scott, and he almost made that pull off, but not quite going to get the exit compared to the wider line. We have a yellow flag in we'll kind of a quick look. I think it might have been the Ferrari that got a little bit out of shape there, but he is going along, and I have to admit, he's looking like he is absolutely struggling, and yes, that might be why. He has got front wing damage there, and that is not what we want to see on lap 2 of a 100% race. That is going to hurt him in the long term, and he might need a safety car coming into this race. Meanwhile, Jesus making more moves up the grid. Look at that, he's absolutely flying after his 5-place grid penalty that he thinks he may have got that unfairly, but then again, this is Co-Masters, and we'll tell you what, the Williams is having a look around the outside, but couldn't quite get alongside enough. And there's a little bit of a twitchy moment. This is now going to invite the Williams to have a look here. He's got the overtake on. He's pulled her out to the outside, going to the outside line, the racing line, I should say. They're literally neck and neck going towards the braking zone, and much deeper on the brakes goes the Williams, but he's got a bit too deep. He's off the track, and now the Aston Martin's trying to get involved, but he's kept that position. I think someone might have a few strong words about that. May have to get that position back there. He was off the track, but he's going to stay ahead for now, and that will be very frustrating for the Alpine there, as Bolton there actually picks up a 3-place time penalty for track limits. Scott gets back past the AlphaTauri there, and the Haas Matt there also looking to get involved in that battle. Meanwhile, it's getting a lot more closer between the likes of the Hugh, Spread and THC, as well as some of the other cars behind. Jesus is getting back past the Williams of Bolton. See on the track, on the standing map, and we've got a crash. Bolton's out, and we've got a virtual safety car. Whereabouts is that? Has he potentially made contact with the Alpine? I don't quite know, didn't quite see it. His car's disappeared now, but he is out of the Grand Prix. We've got a virtual safety car is deployed, and that could be smiles for the face of Hugh and that Rebel, as it looks like he was about to lose DRS on the back of Rebel. Lap freeze would have been enabled this lap, and things can calm back down. And never mind, we're going green again. That was a very short virtual safety car. Crikey, well, that was no time at all. Spread has, I think, been caught out by that virtual safety car. He's lost a little bit of time to the Rebel ahead, but he's catching back up, going through the tricky bit now, chucking it in for the left, and whoa, that was pretty close to the wall. And oh, I think he touched the wall there. I think he may have made contact with the wall, but it doesn't look like he's got damage, but it's going to put him a little bit out of shape. And THC will be noticing that and be thinking, hang on, might have a chance coming up pretty shortly, but he's still within DRS of the car ahead. Speaking of someone who isn't in DRS though, the Rebel has just lost out, and that could prove to be a problem. That DRS is going to be mighty powerful and very key, and you can tell how much it actually means to him because he blasted that ERS to try and catch back up to the Mercedes, who's all over the back of Hilly. Hilly looks like he's surely on this opening stint. 3 seconds separates Hilly and Axel. Axel is going to be loving this. He's able to pull away much higher than he needs, I should say. Looking at the position changes, up 4 for Jesus and Dystopian, down 7 for Mitsit, who had to pit to repair his front wing. And speaking of moves, we've got Scott and Briggs in the Alfa Romeo. Scott getting past and up into P8, showing that he has stronger pace. I apologise if you hear fireworks in the background. It is nearly bonfire and people like to set them off, even though it's been pissing it down. So I can only apologise if you hear that in the background. I literally can't do anything about it. Yellow flags in sector 1, I believe. It's the Red Bull! Oh dearie me, and he is going slow, and there has been some kind of incident, and arriving very quickly on the scene is Jesus, as he's got massive damage to the front wing of that Red Bull, and that is absolutely disastrous for you, and that is a race that is unfolding very badly for him, starting in P3, now finds himself down in P15. And he is going to be praying for a safety car to bring him back into this. Going on to the tyre details, Bolton leaves us, he doesn't want to hang around. On board with THC as now he's the one who's going to be closing onto Spread. Spread not going to have to clear that Red Bull anymore, and Hilly can breathe a little bit of sign of relief as he's going to live a little bit longer, but he's got very fast cars approaching. Speaking of fast cars, Scott's making an overtake. He's up into P6 now. He's absolutely enjoying himself up there, and that's good to see. And let's hope he can actually stay connected into the lobby as the Alfa Romeo Spriggs looking a little bit out of shape there. We're going to go on board as he's got a nice lovely DRS train behind him, not quite closing. He's closing in, very defensive, goes Phantom Dragon to the inside. He's not going to quite be able to get alongside into the braking centre. He will be able to take the normal racing line as Spriggs is very much closing down here, and Scott, not having that DRS, has lost a little bit of time, but hopefully he'll be able to pull away. He was speeding into pit lane, gets a 5-second time penalty. He's not the only one to do that. Misfits also did that earlier on, and a mistake from Spriggs sees him completely losing out in DRS range, and he will not be liking that as he's got 2 very feisty and very fast cars coming up behind him. Those people who are on hard tyres are definitely going to be warming up now, and those that are on softs may start to feel some rear tyre wear, so they need to be careful now, or at least start being careful. Not quite going to go yet, they'll still have very good pace, I'd imagine. Overall, I think the mediums might be coming into their own very shortly, but the hards are definitely speeding up for sure. We have THC getting very close to the back of Spread here. We're going to go on board with him with DRS wide open, and this could be a very easy done deal move there, and he moves himself up back to P4. Now starting to make work of those tyres. Robbo has got past Hilly after all that. So Robbo now up to P2 and is making the chase happen now to Axel. Hilly definitely struggling on this first stint. Also, whilst that was happening, Kamarov got by Spriggs and is now heading towards his teammate who's in P7 and is still chasing back after Scott. So that battle is not over for P6, and it's folding up quite nicely for a bit of a recovery job from a pretty poor qualifying for Kamarov. Further down, Jesus and KZA chasing after Dystopian. Jesus has been starting a lot further down than what he would have liked, and he's showing pretty strong pace, but he's now stuck behind another car. They just need to find their time here. They don't want to rush into this. We've got plenty of pit stops coming up shortly, and that'll be when the race will unfold quite dramatically, I reckon, with a fair few people on different strategies here. But the most people starting on mediums, I'd imagine they might have all the same strategy. Being all the two AlphaTauris closing down on each other, whilst also staying in touch with the Mercedes of Scott. And I'm sure Scott will be looking in his rear view mirror and probably panicking a little bit with two very quick people coming up behind him. Meanwhile, THC is making use of them soft tyres, and he's closed right up to the back of Hilly. Hilly's still got DRS on the back of Robbo, and Axel is now managing to steadily pull away. It's still hovered around the 3.5 second gap, but it is increasing again now with the likes of these guys battling, and that's a lock up into turn 1 there for THC. And that's not going to do any good for his tyres. Meanwhile, Phantom Dragon got back past Scott there. Scott almost under pressure from Cameron. Cameron was nearly pushing him around the corners there. Spriggs is also right back onto this battle. It is getting a bit juicy for P6 here. Apologies, I do not have a drink with me, so my throat got very dry very quick. That's how unorganised I was, and I could have taken that 5-minute break to get one, but you know, I'm meta like that. Going around the curve corner this time, it's going to be Phantom Dragon with that DRS, and I think he could be under a lot of pressure and may lose a couple of positions here. Meanwhile, going on board with the Alfa Romeo Spriggs. He's right on the back end of this battle. He lost out with the mistake he had earlier in Sector 1, but he's trying to bring himself back into this. Meanwhile, Bats also dropped back a little bit, but he's going to gain back here as these guys are fighting now for position. Scott closing in with that DRS, not quite going to be able to make a move. It's very difficult to do so out of that DRS zone, and rather a pointless DRS zone if you ask me. But here we go, here's one where we could see a move. He's closing right, he's going to pull right round to the outside. He's going to the final corner. He's going to take that position before he even meets the braking zone. But doing so, and oh, he goes too deep, and Phantom Dragon sweeps right past, but he's got the DRS back past, and now Cameron's getting involved. Also Spriggs in the background. It looks like Scott's going to lose out on 3 positions, as these guys are going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Just avoiding that situation though. Phantom Dragon backed out of that, and Kamarov has just made a huge advantage and puts himself back up into P6. Absolutely fantastic stuff, and rather unfortunate mistake by Scott going too deep on the brakes, and that's cost him 3 positions in one straight, not even the straight, one corner I should say. That is bad news for the Merc, who now finds himself in P9. But I have to say, I don't think this battle is over, but Kamarov is trying his hardest to pull a gap big enough to break DRS, but I don't think it's enough, and looking quite marginal on the fuel is Spriggs with the yellow warning light on already. Meanwhile, THC is starting to drop back a bit from the likes of Hilly, which means his soft tyres are now going to start to struggle, and I think KZA also might be experiencing the same thing. Meanwhile, Jesus and Bolts are still stuck behind the Aston Martin of Dystopian. Is going to be the biggest blockade I think they've ever met in their life. I have to admit, I've just said about the soft tyres going off a little bit, but he's closed right back with the help of the DRS, and he's not got a lot of battery left. Meanwhile, further behind, that's Phantom Dragon and Scott having yet another duel, and this time both of them got the DRS. They're heading towards turn 1. Scott's ahead before the braking zone, but I think later on the brakes is going to go. Phantom Dragon, they're side by side into turn 1, and they almost make contact. I think they actually might have touched wheels a little bit there, but nothing too major, and Phantom Dragon will hold on to P8, and this is allowing the likes of Karoff and Spriggs to pull away, and without that DRS is going to be very vulnerable. Meanwhile, Jesus is getting past Dystopian for P11. And that's going to be a very crucial move, as he has definitely got more pace. He needs to show that and needs to get using that now. Meanwhile, Karov has been passed by Spriggs, and Karov might have made a mistake at the end of set to 1 there, as it's not always an easy move without an error. So with the driver, I think he might have touched the wall slightly there. Meanwhile, Spread and THC still behind Hilly. Hilly doing an absolute sterling job, and now look at this, 2.5 seconds is now the gap between Axel and Robbo. So Robbo is now starting to close down that gap to P1. Axel will now start feeling that pressure in. Oh, that's a bit of a corner cut from Spread there. Just going a little bit too deep on the brakes, a little bit too much speed through that corner. This time DRS wide open for both THC, and THC is now going to go down the inside of Hilly. Hilly's now have to conceive that position as oh, there's contact between them. He's run into the gearbox of the Alpine. This fight still isn't over. This time Hilly's now going to have the DRS. THC's going to have to go very defensive. Don't think he has enough battery to defend this, but it's just going to be enough. A Spread now attacks Hilly down the inside. Spread takes P4. THC up to P3, still working those softs very hard. Meanwhile, in the background there, you just see Spriggs and Karov and Phantom Dragon, Scott as well, all joining on to this battle. This battle has now become a battle for P3. And Hilly's now going to notice that. Oh! Onto the curb goes Hilly. Spriggs goes through. Karov is almost going to go through. Oh, they almost make contact, as it's very difficult to rejoin the track there. So I don't blame really there. It's a very difficult part of the track, and Hilly's now down to P7. It's all going very unfolded badly. Bolts has got 3-6 tap. There's a yellow flag set to 1. I think he may have gone off. It's Dystopian that's gone off. Dystopian's been off the track. We'll see if he's got damage, but I don't think we'll be able to see it now. Right, everyone fuck off. We're going to go back to the main battle now. Jesus. Apologies for the coughing. Slowly dying as we get through this race. Oh my god, it's only lap 11 out of 50. Oh god, there's such a long way to go. Crikey. Meanwhile, DRS wide open for Scott. Scott's going to get Hilly now onto this back straight here. This is side by side into the braking zone. Late on the brakes goes Hilly. He's going to have to force Scott very wide. Meanwhile, we've got Phantom Dragon looking at the back of this. Hilly's going to stay ahead just for now, but he's now lost out on that position. Phantom Dragon's also going to have a look down the inside. He gets ahead before the braking zone, and Hilly's going to try and have a look back down the inside, but he's got nothing there. No DRS. He's got no attack left. Out of shape there for Scott. This is inviting Phantom Dragon to have a look, but he's not quite getting alongside enough. All kicking off in the midfield. Meanwhile, KZA is the first driver to go into the pits. We'll have a look at this. What tyre is the soft runner going on? He's going on to the mediums. That must mean he must be going for a 2-stop race. Whereas those people that have started on the mediums have a chance to go for a 1-stop here for sure, if they can drag out those tyres long enough. A little bit of a lag moment there for Scott. That's not what you want to see. Oh my word, what is happening there? We've got teleportation, and yep, I knew it was going to happen. Oh dearie me. It was going so well for the Mercedes, and the connection issues have unfortunately striked yet again. And he's going to lose a few positions here, and it's a shame really, because that was a lovely battle going on there between the top three, almost top 3 drivers there. So I was going to say between 3rd and 9th, that was unfolding quite nicely. Meanwhile, Kamarov on the back of Spriggs yet again with the DRS. It's going to be a done deal on the straight before the braking zone, and he's losing a little bit of touch with Spread and THC ahead. THC keeping around the 2-second gap as it was before when Hilly was ahead. Hilly's getting ahead there, and Spriggs is also getting back past Kamarov. So it's tit for tat really with those DRS zones at the moment. Hilly struggling with the AI a little bit there. I keep forgetting it's AI mode for him at the moment. Banter. On board with Kamarov as he gets a little bit out of shape there with the Alfa Romeo. Really working those tyres hard, and I think they're going to start struggling for a little bit of grip now, these medium rows, but the soft runner I think is somehow still finding grip. I know it's a 100% race, so the tyres work a little bit differently than what we used to with a stereotypical 50% league race. Dystopian's into the pits. Meanwhile, he's going on for a hard set of tyres. Spread is right on the back of THC. He's almost pushing him around some of these corners. And look at this, he's going to get alongside into this braking zone. That could have been a brave move. It's put THC all kinds of out of shape there. And that's going to be very cheeky. And another dose of DRS for Spread. He's not got the top. He's not got the straight line speed at all. The Spread here is still fighting him. It's THC. He's going to let him go, and I believe that's for the DRS. Yep, there you go. He's got the DRS now. Also in the background, you can see Kamarov just ahead of Spriggs again. Spriggs is now going to try and get that one back. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, he's going past. THC, on the other hand, isn't going to get past Spread. So Spread manages to hold off there, and this could be him pulling away. And Soft Tyres probably struggling a little bit. Kamarov probably getting a little bit frustrated now, stuck behind that Alfa Romeo. Every time he passes, he just can't get the deal done and dusted. Meanwhile, Bolt's making move on Jesus with the hard tyres. Also, as he has a time penalty, and wide for Kamarov. He gets onto the curb there, and he goes extraordinarily wide off the track. He's redefined Sector 1 there. That's a fuse line if I've ever seen it. Yes, I did refer to myself in third person, and what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? This is going to give Spriggs a little bit of a sigh of relief, as he can probably relax a little bit into this next couple of DRS straights. Although saying that, closing right back up with the first dosage of DRS, and now the second dosage is going to bring him probably into nearly overtaking mode. In fact, actually, this mistake could have worked out in Kamarov's favour there. Meanwhile, THC has got back past ahead of the Spread, gone board with Spread now, as looks like he's now going to try and get this position back with the DRS down the start-finish straight. Is THC going to go defend on the inside? No, he's going to take the outside line. Deep on the brakes for Spread. He's going to force it down the inside. And he's actually he's actually going to make that move stick. There's still a little bit side by side, and ahead goes Spread. Absolutely fantastic stuff from him there. That's a great move, if I say so myself. Tips for Aurora. Meanwhile, Jesus is making moves on the Ferrari, but not quite going to make it there, as a little bit wide goes Bolt. Bolt still struggles with those hard tyres. I don't think those hard tyres are looking like a good race compound, to say the least. And see just how much slower the Ferrari has to take those corners just to get it to grip up. And that's 14 laps odd on those tyres. So will we see some people potentially change their strategy plan after seeing the performance that the Ferrari and the Haas have not really been able to make any good gains? And Scott is right back on the back of Matt, and he's actually going to overtake him. Yeah, I'm going to fly past with the DRS before we get even to the setup in the first DRS zone. Now that's a... Oh, but he's got a little bit out of shape there, and that's invited the Haas back round. And this time he's got the DRS, so I think he's going to get past on this straight. But whilst doing so, he's going to allow Scott to get the DRS on the start-finish straight. Yep, there we go. As into the pits comes THC, the championship leader. And ooh! Also coming into the pits is Matt. He's had enough of those hards. He thinks that's a terrible tyre. He's hearing to the commentator's advice, and he's getting off them. He doesn't like them. Mediums for THC, and I reckon it might be mediums for Matt as well. Yep. What a guess. Meanwhile, Kamarov has managed to get ahead of Spriggs on the start-finish straight. Are we going to see him potentially be able to pull a bit of a gap? But having said so, he's got Spread in the Alfa Romeo. We've got yellow flags down in turn 1. It's a Red Bull. Is it Hugh? No, it's Franz Piper, who's gone a little bit too deep there. I'll tell you what, normally Franz Piper's had a few yellow flags, but I have to admit, they're doing quite well so far, and they've not even got a penalty. That's off to you, sir. That's off. Another yellow flag. This time it's a Ferrari. Is it Misfits again? I think it was. But he's got going again, and he's got front wing damage again. Oh dear me, the Ferraris of Misfits is not doing well. The other Ferrari, Bolts, actually not doing too bad, but again, just struggling a little bit on those hard compound tyres. Oh, meanwhile, this is getting a bit tasty. 2 Alfa Romeos, 2 Alfa Tauris. Who's more Alpha? It's going to be the Alfa Romeo Spriggs as he comes into the pits. Meanwhile, Spread is losing the position to Kamarov as he goes up into P3 now. Kamarov making a great recovery job at the moment. This is promoting like some Jesus into P8. He's blissfully walking on water as you get. No, it only works if that's rain and trout. There isn't rain because it's bloody Saudi Arabia. Don't think they even know what rain is. Starts raining, they'll probably have a panic attack. Thinking it's Armageddon happening. Getting a bit off topic there, am I? We'll move on swiftly before it goes a little bit sour. 5-second time to spin into pit lane again for Misfits. He's just not having a great time at that, I have to admit. He's struggling, but he's continuing on, and that's what we like to see. As long as you continue, when you finish the race, you'll get points. And as I said before, every point matters. Axel now got a 4-second gap. Robbo closed the gap, but he's extending a little bit, but not as much as Axel probably would have liked. Meanwhile, Spread has overtaken Kamarov. Axel, the race leader, has come into the pits, and also coming into the pits is both Spread and Kamarov. I think Phantom Dragon might have wanted to go into the pits, but couldn't because his teammate was in. So, here comes the Williams. Let's see what this pit stop serves him. It serves him a lovely set of mediums, but he's held. No, it's lagged. Both Spread and Kamarov also going on to the medium compound tyres. Out the pit exit. Oh, that was very close between Jesus and Bolts, and also Axel's going to immediately fly past Bolts, which is what he needs to do, but he's going to get held behind the Alpine here. He needs to clean this car, clear this car very quickly here before he loses too much time. Robbo's going to be looking at the track map, he's going to look where he is, and he's going to think, do I pit now and potentially get caught in that traffic, or wait another lap and potentially lose a little bit more time, as the undercuts are powerful on this game. Axel clears them before the DRS zone, and needs to break that DRS as well, because it can drag him right back into potentially even an overtake manoeuvre. Meanwhile, Bolts is looking quite racy now on the back of Jesus. Jesus is up to P6, but we've got a few people that have pitted. Spriggs, meanwhile, went onto the hard compound tyres, so split strategies for the Alfa Romeos should see a potential driver swap here, but I know there's no actual teammates. In reality, it is all drivers-based championship, no constructors-based, as the cars are varied all the time. But if you wanted to for fun keep track of your own constructors sort of scoring, then be my guest. Phantom Dragon comes into the pits as well as Jesus. Spread ahead of Spriggs, Kamarov behind the pair of the Alfa Romeos. Both Alfa Tauris are behind the Alfa Romeos. As you can see, 2 seconds lost from Phantom Dragon, staying out a bit longer. Robbo staying out on track, as well as Hilly and Scott. Both of them, all those drivers staying out on track at the moment. Axel will be liking that, as touching the wall is Matt, who pitted early off his hards for mediums. Don't think he was enjoying those hard compound tyres. Misfits has gone onto the hards. France has also pitted for more mediums. Jesus also went onto the medium compound tyres. Oh, THC is on the back of bolts, and he's going to clear him pretty quickly. Fresh tyres compared to old tyres, and old hards for that matter. A pretty done deal action indeed. The marshal there hyping up the crowd as Robbo goes into the pits. We're going to have a look at this and see where he comes out in relation to the Axel battle and also to the likes of Spread. Will Spread be able to get the jump? Because it wasn't too much of a gap and he stayed out that much longer. Axel, fastest lap of the race, 1:32.002. Almost was perfect. Robbo is behind THC, he's behind Spreads, behind Carol, behind Spriggs. Is he going to be behind Phantom Dragon? I have to admit, staying out that much longer has cost him dearly. That was not the strategy to do, and he's going to be kicking himself because he's got a lot more cars now to try and clear. And these guys aren't exactly going to be slow. They're fresher tyres. Fresh tyres, I should say, not fresher. And it's quick people as well, so it's not going to be easy. He's gonna have to work for this to get back up into a P2 he was in net wise, so he's lost out big time there. Mercedes, bottle job of a strategy. They've taken a leaf out of Ferrari's book in terms of the real F1 world. Whew. Here we go then. Spread and Karov. Things could get spicy. Spriggs still hanging on in there with the hards, but I think he might start to struggle to keep keep up keep up with the guys on medium tyres. Sincere apologies there. However rude of me, Phantom Dragon is all over the back of Robbo here, and could see a move. Scott comes into the pits as well. Healy still staying out on track. Is he stretching for a potential one-stop? Scott goes back on to another set of medium compound tyres. A little bit out of shape on the exit there for Phantom Dragon, so Robbo is safe for now, but I think his tyres now finally start to warm up. Scott comes out behind KZA and just ahead of Hugh in the Rebel, who unfortunate incident earlier, saw him spin and pit early with front wing damage. As he started P3 in this race, he's down in P12. This is not a good day in the office if you're a Red Bull. Both of the drivers are far down below the top 10. I was going to say out the points there, but everyone gets points. So quickly rethink that phrase. Doesn't really work, does it? Here we go. Phantom Dragon catching the cars ahead a lot quicker than he would have because of Robbo dragging him along a bit here. Robbo with a lot more pace, and he's going to have to clear this Alfa Romeo pretty quickly. He used a lot of his ERS already, and just up ahead there you can see Kamrov nearly pushing Spread around the final corner. Axel goes even quicker, 31.5. As he passes Hilly to take the lead of the race. Yet again, Hilly's still staying out on those tyres. He really is stretching this stint. As down the inside goes Kamarov, cutting that off very quickly. There is Spread, and he's taking none of it. Meanwhile, the Mercedes of Robbo behind manages to get past ahead of Spriggs. Phantom Dragon is also going to be buying his time here. These guys are all going to fight pretty hard, and this is for peak 3 even. THC 2.2 seconds ahead of Spread, and surprisingly also catching. Phantom Dragon actually gets past Spriggs, as I think he made a mistake in sector 1 there. He's lost a lot of time, and he's just going to have to do this, approach this differently on those hard tyres. He's going to have to take care, especially on the opening parts, because they are not going to be up to temperature and they're not going to be up to speed. Whereas these guys on the mediums, they can push that much quicker, and they can do an intense battle like this, but not too intense, otherwise they'll have too much wear on the tyres. Lap 22 out of 50, we're not even halfway yet. Oh dear lord. There's a 3-second time penalty there for Matt. Not ideal, not ideal at all. Meanwhile, Kamarov and Spread are going to go at it again. This time he's going to go round the outside and he's going to get the meal. The meal. Oh, look at that. I bailed on what I was saying earlier. Phantom Dragon got past ahead of Robo and almost got past ahead of the Alpha male. It's getting very close. Both of these guys using DRS and ERS. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Not quite. Down the inside for Phantom Dragon. Is it going to take that position? Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Kamarov's getting a little bit invited, but it's all calmed down. Well, I think that is an unfair 5-second time penalty, and I think you might want to just not take too much notice of that, as that was because they had a little bit of contact as soon as that virtual safety car came out. I don't know what happened to cause that virtual safety car, as he was coming to the pit, so maybe he might have had a bit of damage, but that is an unfair 5-second time penalty, and hopefully that gets removed, because that was simply a poor timing for the virtual safety car to come out. And that was getting interesting. As soon as the virtual safety car comes out, it gets interesting. God damn it. So, Phantom Dragon is net P3 as Hilly is yet to pit. The virtual safety car stays out long enough for him to come into the pit, so he'll get a little bit of a cheeky little few seconds off his pit stop, but that's only if it lasts that long. We saw how long the other one lasted. It wasn't, well, actually, it was a lot shorter than this, so no, we're going green. Never mind, we're going green. He's not going to get a cheeky free pit stop there. Or a half price pit stop, I should say. Phantom Dragon now leading this quartet. That's the right word, isn't it? We'll go with it. We'll go with it for the sake of going with it. No moves going to be made this time down. They start finish straight. They're all going to close up with the DRS, and they're going to have to focus on this next sector. We'll go on board with Phantom Dragon, just show how much concentration, just put in your perspective how much concentration these guys need. They got to keep it tight to the wall, stick exactly pinpoint to that racing line. If you go somewhat off that, you're going to lose a lot of time, or you're going to go off the track with a warning and some dirty tyres. It keeps that well nicely. Everyone behind also keeping touching, no issues. Spread is the only one with the penalty, but obviously that is a 5-second time. We're going to have a quick look at the penalty situation. Yes, it's just the 5 seconds, 3 seconds for Bolts, and Matt Misfits has served all his other 5-second time penalties. He's still down in P17. Both Red Bulls P15 16. They're having a bad day. Meanwhile, Master Spread having a look at Phantom Dragon here, and he's getting all over the back of him, but it's not quite the right place to make moves, as didn't have DRS though. Interesting, very interesting, but he's going to have DRS here, and I don't think he's really going to need it that much, because look at that, he's got that much speed. He's going to get this move done before the braking zone. Also look at the back of there, Kamarov is also going to go for it on his teammate round the outside. Teofotari's getting pretty close there, and like I say, there's no constructors battle, so the teams can fight each other as much as they want. They're just going to get held up in the pits. Meanwhile, they are going to go 3 wide this time. They're almost 4 wide going into turn 1. Spread's going to back out of this one a little bit. He doesn't want to get involved in an incident. Robbo is getting frustrated as Kamarov is going to battle his teammate there a little bit. Dragon's still going to somehow stay ahead, leading this nicely battle. They're now in P3 as Hilly pits for the hard compound tyres. He's going to be going to the end of this race on that compound. Spriggs is loving these guys battling this much because he's not losing that much time anymore. Also loving this battle, THC and Axel, because they're just not being able to gain on them, even though the gap is still staying around the 2-second marker. So if these guys didn't battle each other, they could easily gain time on THC and involve him on the battle. Oh, cutting the track there. Kamarov, he went straight across there. Not missing that with my eagle eye. Lazy eagle eye, I should say. On board with spread. He's a little bit far back this time, and this could invite the Mercedes of Robbo behind. Meanwhile, the AlphaTauri switching positions there. Scott's gone again. Oh dear me today. That's the second one of the day. Spread's going to go down. Have a look down the inside. He just wasn't quite close enough, but he's made some impression on Phantom Dragon that got him a little bit out of shape. Meanwhile, Kamarov has a good lead on this start finish rate, which should keep him safe a little bit. Spread's going to... Oh, these two are a little bit dicey. Last minute move there for Phantom Dragon, and it just saw Spread reconsider his judgment there and had to bail out of that move. It wasn't quite going to happen that time round. Meanwhile, Robbo's still stuck behind these lot, and this time THC not gained a lot of time. He's now losing time to these lot battling behind, as they didn't really go for it like they have been the last lap where they nearly went through wide. Meanwhile, Hilly's going to get past the ghost of Scott. And Scott actually now rejoins the session and takes control. Hilly is, like I say, these guys on the hards just have to bide the time and just let the battles happen. Let their tyres wear out before they start reeling them in, and hope that they get held up in the pits or something like that. Because I generally think the hards are not the way to go. Looking at the Ferrari and the was it the Rebel? I think no, it was the Haas of Matt that bailed on them because they just weren't doing that well at all. Meanwhile, Phantom Dragon right on the back of his teammate, actually not using DRS. Well, that's interesting. I mean, he is behind, so I don't know why he didn't have DRS. This time, I think the DRS is glitching out a little bit on this track. So, Phantom Dragon is going to get this position on Kamarov as they go towards turn 1. Kamarov loses that out. It's only just the AlphaTauri switching the position this time. Spread not quite close enough to get involved, nor is Robbo on the back of Spread, but they are nose to tail, and they have been like this for a very long time. Franz Piper, he got a pen. He was doing so well. Fair play. Over half distance for a got the first bend. That's an improvement. We like to see that. Congrats indeed. Bolts, on the other hand, closing up onto the back of the McLaren. And Matt has had a moment, I believe. He's lost a couple of positions there. As does he have damage? No, he's just... No, he's... okay, and I think Scott might be disconnected again shortly. Meanwhile, on board with the Ferrari, this is a P12, he's very close to the back of KZA. KZA on 15-lap old medium compound tyres at the moment, as, oh dear me, that's Matt out of the session. Wait. Oh, hang on, that's a retirement on track. Well, that's a bit strange. What would happen there? Well, anyway, confusion aside, Bolts is going to get past KZA. Fresher medium compound tyres versus old medium tyres. That's a pretty easy move there. Meanwhile, these guys are battling again. Down towards turn 1, Kamarov and Spread this time, and oh my word, there's all kinds of lag going on here. I can only apologise. Scott's really having a few issues with the internet there, and it's caused a little bit of confusion with the positionings there, and the ghostings actually helped Phantom Dragon. He's a little bit out of shape going through sector 1 there, and that's allowed Kamarov to get really close, and Spread to pull a little bit of a gap there on the AlphaTauri. Meanwhile, Rob's again still behind. It's not going to be like that. I'm completely confused on the Haas situation there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the game's forced him to retire there, because he did go slow at one point and lost a few positions, so I wonder if the game's had a bit of a poo there. We'll find out eventually. We'll see what happens. So we've lost 2 drivers from this race. Bolton crashed out at the start of this race, I think of lap 3. Might delay retirement on track. Don't know why. Won't read too much into it. So let's not worry about it, and let's focus on this battle that's been everlasting for P3. THC now got a 3.4 second gap after that bit of a gargle into turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. Seems to be every time getting really long, and then watch this. This will be like one position change into turn one. I might be a bit wrong there, as also close is Karov, but he's not quite going to be close enough. So yeah, no, I was right. Yeah, watch, it'll be one position change now. And now look at the gap between P3 and P2. It's going to close a little bit now. It's going to be like this for a very long time, I'd imagine. Meanwhile, Bolts was being passed by KZA again as he comes into the pits, does Bolts? Oh, I wonder if he has damage. Yes, he does. He has a front wing change. But it didn't look like he had damage on that front. Yeah, well, I'm not going to question it. It seems to be having a bit of a mare, this game, at the moment. It doesn't seem to know what it wants to do. I do apologise, as it may seem like I am focusing on one gaggle of cars at the moment, but I do like to try and get as much battling as as I can on these streams. I will try and get with some other cars, so give them a bit of airtime. They deserve it. They deserve it. With Hilly here, pitted very late, stayed out I think a good 23 laps on those medium compound tyres. Got onto the hards, and he's going to the end of this race. Spriggs, I don't know what he'll be doing. He's 12 up hards already. Meanwhile, we've got position changing happening on the final corner yet again. It's Spread and Phantom Dragon. Spread's now leading them across the line. They're all very close. This time Rob's going to get involved. Rob's going to get the position. He's done it. He's done a move. Oh, there's contact. Oh, Kamrov's gone round. Two AlphaTauris have touched. Oh, that's not what he wanted to see. He was doing so well, and he is facing the wrong way into turn one there. Oh, did he today? Oh, I did. Robbo was involved as well. I didn't realise. That was unbelievable scenes. Robbo and Kamrov involved in an incident. Robbo's now even further behind. It's all unfolding terribly for the Mercedes driver trying to catch THC. Oh, dear me today. It's all kicking off, and this time Spriggs is now up into P5 after all that. It's still Phantom Dragon and Spread having a fight, but Phantom Dragon's broken DRS here. Spread's using up all his DRS. He's trying to close that gap back up, and Phantom Dragon's going to notice this. He's just got back into the DRS, but at what cost? He's got no battery left now. We'll have a quick look back at Karov. Does he have damage? I don't think he will have had damage, but it's a big time loss for sure. Does the Mercedes have damage? No, the Mercedes don't have damage. Look at that. Hilly's closed up big time after that incident as well. It was only a matter of time before that happened. Only a matter of time. It is. Don't get me wrong. Incidents happening and stuff like that, but when you are concentrating for that long, I mean, we've already probably done an hour or so of racing at the moment. Your concentration will start to lapse. With not being an actual professional racing driver, unless you are a professional racing driver. I don't know these guys personally. Your concentration will lapse. Doing the same thing for a long period of time, it'll get a struggle. People's eyes will start stinging because they haven't blinked in about 10 years. Meanwhile, going back with our race leader, I feel like I haven't said much about Axel. He's been leading away quite quietly and comfortably at the moment. He's not had to worry about any cars behind. He might have had to, increase pace at times a little bit, but no, nothing much really. Lead by 11.2 seconds over THC, and I'll have to admit, pretty uncontested, and you can tell he's having an easy time because he's still got about 60% of his battery left. Always going well for Axel in P2. THC behind. He's still worrying about the gap behind here now that the fighting sort of closed down a bit with the incident that's occurred between Dragon, Spread, and Karov and Robbo. I don't quite know exactly what happened, but something happened. Meanwhile, Spread is going to get past Phantom Dragon again. The voice has now officially blown up, So it's all going to get a bit hairy and a bit more coffee, so yeah, bear with me, I can only apologise. That's what happens when we have 2 weeks off. You lose practice. And also when you don't have a Cocom, so I will try and get myself a Cocom, so I think I might have one for next week, so don't worry about it. We're all good in the hood. On board with Scott, who's I think finally come back into the session, now chasing down Jesus. He's got we've got a yellow flag. It's dystopian. He's had an incident at turn 1 there, and I think he might have damage. No, he is. No, he's alright. He hasn't got damage to the front wing. Just the lighting there was making it look like it was. Dystopian, round again in turn 1. He's not having fun in that Aston Martin today. Like I said, I think we knew that this might have happened, considering his issue on the final corner on his quality lap that we were on board with. Moving on, back to Scott, chasing down Jesus. This is for P9. Scott into the top 10 after all his disconnections. He's really doing well to hold on to a top 10 finish here. And you admire the fact that some people often 2 or 3 disconnects. They usually give up, and you don't blame them really. It's very frustrating. You get disconnected constantly from a session. Meanwhile, Scott's going to fly past into P9, and it's dystopian again. He is having more issues. I think he may have damage that time, judging by where he crashed on the track map there. But through goes Scott into P9. Jesus is now going to get the dose of DRS down to that finish. Is he going to send? No, he's going to think a little bit too far back. A little bit of a lock up into turn 1 there, though. And Jesus is still inside the top 10, though. He's making a bit of a recovery from his little cock up in the 5-place grid penalty in qualifying. Haley's got 3-second time penalty. Oh dear me, you don't want that. You really don't want that. Especially when how close it is with the battle for P3 there. Staying with Phantom Dragon then. On the back of spread. These two have been battling out, and they're getting very close into that first DRS straight. Not quite going to be able to make a move there. He's pretty much almost on his gearbox as he goes into the second DRS straight. This should be an easy move, but like I say, is he going to hold off to get the DRS on the start finish straight? No, he's going to get past. Spread is now going to have the chance to get onto the start finish straight and go board with the Alfa Romeo. DRS is going to be activated. He's using as much battery as he can. THC goes into the pits from P2. This is for his final stop of the race. Spread gets past before the braking zone turn 1, and it's just going to be like that as it's been all the way through the race. Meanwhile, Robbo and Karov having a little bit of battle, but Karov I think got back past ahead of the Mercedes as THC pits for another set of medium tyres. Spriggs also pits for medium compound tyres. He wasn't liking those hards, he wasn't really getting anywhere with them, as Jesus now goes up to P9. Again, sentences than I thought I'd be saying. He's doing quite well. He's now with his teammates, who've just got out ahead of him. And that 3-second time penalty for Karov, that is again going to hurt big time, especially, as I said, they guys are very close at the top. And battle is now on for P2. THC needs to clear the likes of Scott pretty quick so he doesn't lose too much time in the traffic here. Go around the back corner, so he will have the advantage of the DRS zones coming up, so he won't get too much dirty air. Apologise for the intrusion there, my brother, I can only apologise for that. Public house, not private room. Bolts with a 3-second time penalty. He's down in P13. He's recently pitted. He's 5 lap old mediums. I reckon he will be going to the end of this race now. KZN 22 lap old mediums. I reckon he is due a pit stop, along with Jesus as well. Karov and Robbo battling again down into the final corner. No, they weren't battling into the final corner. They were battling on the start finish straight. Banter. Oh, looking. That's the wrong Mercedes. Oh dear me today. That's my judgment lapsing. Karov goes into the pits. He's going on for soft compound tyres. He's going very aggressive at the end of the session, and that might be a pretty good shout, actually. Phantom Dragon and Spread battling again. Spread, I think, made a mistake there, actually. Yeah, he has. He's made a mistake in set to 1, and it's cost him big time. And this is the best chance for Dragon to finally pull out that gap. 1.2 it stands. Spread's not got a lot of VRS to play with to catch back up, and that could be the most costly mistake of this race for Spread. For Spread, not for everyone. Saying that, he's gaining that time pretty quick, even with no battery left, but like about 10%. He's not even going to be getting the extra speed from the high deployment. With the low deployment, he's just it's just waste burning it now. He's got nothing left. He's not gaining. He's losing time at this point. Axel, race leader, also comes into the pits. He's just keeping it comfortable there. He should end up behind Hilly potentially. No, he's not actually. Well, he should be ahead of Hilly. Actually, he's going to be lovely ahead of Hilly now because both Spread and Dragons comes into the pits. Axel going on soft compound tyres. Robbo now takes the lead of the Grand Prix yet again. Is he staying out to the end of this race? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is Axel's come out right behind him. Jesus makes himself up to P6 as a lot of people pitted. Both Dragon and Spread also on soft tyres. Karov is going to get ahead of Spread. The undercut has worked brilliantly for the AlphaTauri, whereas a little bit sliding out the pit lane goes Spread, and he's actually lost a lot of time. I think he might have been... Oh yes, no, what about? He had that 5 second time penalty to surf. That's why. Yeah. I hope if no other safety car happens, then I think he should get that removed, because it's quite an unfair penalty, that one. Who knows? Who knows? I'm only judging it based on my previous experiences doing that type of stuff. Meanwhile, Axel is flying on those soft tyres. Purple set to 1. Sorry, set to 2 even. Just ignore that I said that. Yeah, DRS, the first DRS straight, the second DRS straight is easy. And I don't think Robbo's going to really bother challenging that fresh, brand new spanking sauce versus 16 lap old mediums. It's a no contest. Meanwhile, out of shape in the background is the McLaren. Also, that Ferrari is getting lapped. It's our first, apart from Franz Piper actually, where again is a lap down, but I have to admit, doing a lot better today than I have seen in the past. So big improvements being made. Phantom Dragon getting past Jesus. Jesus is not done contending this. Fastest lap by Spring, 130. Never mind. Fastest lap by Karov, 130.4. That got shut down pretty quick, didn't it? Scott goes into the pits. He's also going for these soft compound tyres. It comes up behind the Red Bull of Hugh. Hugh back into the top 10. That's not bad from the Red Bull. That's a alright recovery there. Meanwhile, Phantom Dragon on those softs compared to Sprig's medium, 2 lap older and probably rubbered in a lot more. But those softs, it's not going to be much of a car. I think those softs are going to be so much more powerful here. Should be able to easily fly by, but we have got the lapped car of the Ferrari, lapped car ahead of the Red Bull Franz Piper there, and that is actually going to give the Alfa Romeo some DRS as well. That's going to be very helpful. In fact, I see what the Alfa Romeo's done there. He's bats right. Ooh, Franz Piper runs a lot of bit of distractions that go inside each other. But that's very good. Very, very good from Spriggs there. He's done that to get DRS for this straight. But, no, actually he didn't even get it. Oh. He tried though. I see what he was trying to do. Hilly is P2, and that is actual P2. He's got 5.7 to the car behind, which is THC. He's closing in pretty quick. A lot fresher medium compound tyres. Phantom Dragon Spriggs switching positions further back. We've got Jesus getting passed by Karov, who's also making inroads ahead. Robbo goes into the pits. He's coming out to behind. Oh, they're going to be neck and neck with Spread. He's literally just behind. Not quite close enough to get ahead, but not too bad for Robbo considering where he was before. He's gained a little bit of time. that is spread obviously who had served the 5-second time penalty in the pits. He's got a lot more work to do, and that could be potentially a spoiling moment there for the Alfa Romeo. Meanwhile, we've got the Ferrari of Bolts, who just had a little bit of a moment on the exit of the second corner there. He was close to KZA, but KZA there much fresher medium compound tyres by 6 laps there, so that'll make a big difference, especially in the long term. Rob is losing a little bit of time to the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo's got a bit of dosage of DRS from the lap to car of France. Meanwhile, Hilly is going to start noticing in the rearview mirror a very quick Alpine car coming up. He's going to have to start utilising some defensive manoeuvres here. We have got 12 laps to go in this Grand Prix. As into the pits comes Jesus. It's going to be a holy pit stop. I believe this is soft tyres to the end now for a lot of these guys. All mediums, we've got yellow flags, it's set to 1. It was a Red Bull, I believe it is the lap to car of France that's had a bit of a moment. Looking on the back here with a spread, just take it carefully, set to 1. Mercedes there, lurking in the background. I think he's buying his time a little bit whilst they catch the guys ahead. On board with the Alpine then, he's making his way. 2.2 seconds is the gap, could be within striking distance on this next lap, according to my big brain. That was terrible. I think I'd never repeat. I never said that. My always wrong statistics. Oh dear. Maybe Red Bull just getting out of the way of cars. I think that's why that yellow flag was there. Oh, you can tell it's looking to get towards the end there, can't you? Bravo gets past the Mercedes, the Alfa Romeo. THC now closing the gap to 1.4. He's almost within DRS. Scott has got ahead of the Red Bull of Hugh. Hugh staying in contention here. He's got the DRS on the start finish rate, and look at the speed he's got. He's got so much more ERS as well. So back through goes Hugh on those all the medium tyres. A little bit later on the brakes goes Scott, and oh, a lock up from Hugh when he just goes straight across turn 1, and that's that battle pretty much done and dusted. Scott will be happy to see that he made that mistake, so he isn't going to get held up too much there. Meanwhile, closed down within DRS distance now is THC. This is for position. This is for the final places of the race. And he has got that 3-second time penalty as well, which he's not going to be enjoying that one. That's going to probably easily send him outside the top 5 here potentially. Right on the back now is the Alpine, and this is going to be a pretty easy move. I don't think Hilly's going to defend this much either. Yeah, through goes THC for P2. 15 seconds is the gap between P1 and P2. Axel is so comfortable out there, pretty much uncontested. 10 more laps to go in this Grand Prix. We're getting there, lads. We're getting there. So Hilly now going to have to look to the likes of Phantom Dragon and Spriggs as well. Robbo is past Kamarov. He's up into B6 and is making his hastening way towards Spriggs, who's on those medium compound tyres. Been on them for a lot longer than for a few more laps longer than the guys ahead, guys behind even, I should say. But further on to this Grand Prix, those sauces are going to start wearing off a little bit, so maybe it will come back to Spriggs. The damage might be already done though. So again, Spriggs might have to look into defending more than attacking Hilly's still within DRS of THC, so it's not quite over there. As he's now going to start gaining as we starts entering those DRS zones, which is going to help Hilly out in terms of the defence from these quick guys on those soft tyres. Everything quite calm so far. Axel, just like I say, he's in an absolutely good zone at the moment. He's flying. There's a Red Bull off, I believe it's Franz, as through goes Robbo on Spriggs. But Spriggs is going to have a second shot here. He's got the DRS. Not a lot of ERS to play though, and Robbo definitely burnt a lot there to try and keep that gap, and he has been able to do so. Meanwhile, Spread and Karov going to go side by side into turn 1. A little bit too far back is Karov, and it's not quite going to work out that time for the AlphaTauri driver. Meanwhile, Franz is out of the race. He's crashed. Is this going to be a safety car, potentially? Might not be. My word, that is not a safety car, and wow. How? For Axel's sake, he is an extremely lucky boy there. Very lucky to not have a safety car glaring down on him, because he has got a huge gap and he would hate to lose that now. Absolutely hate to do that. Meanwhile, here we go, Spriggs. Still hanging on in there, but I think it's just not quite enough. Yeah, Robbo is driving like a man possessed now. He knows he's got to get right back up there. He knows where he can get a podium here, for sure. If he can catch, like I say, he's catching Phantom Dragon. Phantom Dragon slowly reeling in Hilly. Hilly now 2.1 behind THC, and THC is just going to lurk in P2 now for probably the rest of this race unless anything happens to Axel, which I don't think it will be. Let's be real. Let's be real. I don't think anything's going to happen. Meanwhile, Kamarov closing down until Albat's gone. I mean, he went ages ago, didn't he? No, Franz is also saying goodbye. And saying goodbye is Kamarov to Spread as he now takes P7. These guys need to be careful in the way they fight. As long as they're doing this switcheroo stuff, that's not going to cost them time. They'll probably still gain time with the use of the DRS. But as long as they keep doing that, if they start going a little heavy and that side by side into braking zones and that's when they'll just lose time rather than gain it. At this point, it's sort of staying stalemate towards Spriggs, and there's still 3 seconds to catch. A little bit squirrely goes Kamarov on the exit there, but nothing too dangerous. Nothing race ending. I hyped up Franz Piper so much, and it's sort of cursed, really. Sort of cursed it. If you're watching, sorry. And mistake from Karov, and that's allowed Spread to close right up before the DRS is even opened. They're going side by side, head towards the next braking zone, and that's Spread through on the first DRS zone. A little bit wide goes Spread, inviting Kamarov there, but not quite close enough. Here we go, second DRS zone. Kamarov is going to get this position quite easily done. There he goes. They're side by side going towards the far corner. Spread's got a little bit more overspeed on the inside line. Karov's now going to have to try and go round the outside as a normal move, and he's not quite been able to do it this time, but he's got another dosage of DRS. Now Spread's in a bit of trouble. He's really going to have to fight to try and hold on to this one, and I think he may just have to concede it now. Karov goes back through into P7. Meanwhile, Rob is almost within DRS. Misfits now goes quickest at 29.7. He's taking that fastest lap point off of Axel, and at the moment Axel can't really afford to pit. He will lose a position, and it's not exactly a wise strategy to do. In fact, he'll lose a couple of positions. Phantom Dragon almost within the DRS of Hilly. Now this is going to get to be a pretty close battle. A three-way battle now for P3. Technically, Phantom Dragon already has P3, as there's a 3-6 tab and a yellow flag in sector 1. I believe it might have been a Ferrari of either bolts or mists there, and the Mercedes might be lapping them. But, pardon me. And just keeping an eye in the background, we do have Spread looking like he's getting very close again to the back of Kamarov, but I don't think it hasn't quite happened yet. Hilly is very in danger here of losing 2 positions on straight. A little bit squirrel exit there from the AlphaTauri. Hilly is now going to be looking into the mirrors. Is he going to defend the inside line? No, he's going to... Yep, no, he's going to have to defend the inside line as through goes Phantom Dragon. Robbo's not quite going to be able to do it. He wasn't close enough. Now Rob is getting on the back foot here. He needs to clear this McLaren very quickly. Struggling for fuel now is also Hilly, so he's now got to start doing some more Lyco. Kamarov and Master Spread fighting each other down towards turn 4. Kamarov is just narrowly ahead, and I think Spread might have had to back out of that one before it gets a little bit too hairy-larry. Hilly is not quite holding on to the back of Phantom Dragon as easy as he did as THC. I think the difference between the softs and hards is significantly larger. This is going to get dicey. Rob is nearly pushing Hilly around some of these corners, heading to the first DRS activation line here. Is he going to be able to clear him here? He's gaining. I think Hilly's just signalling retreat there. Yeah, he's letting him through there. And through goes the Mercedes. Now he's chasing down after Phantom Dragon. He's got another dosage of the DRS. This is crucial, and he's staying within the DRS of the AlphaTauri ahead, closing down 6 tenths, 5 tenths the gap, almost 4 tenths by, 4 tenths by he reaches the braking zone. He has a chance to make a move into turn 1. Go onto the rear of you camera here of Phantom Dragon. He's already looking to go defensive to the inside. He's going to force him to go a long way around the outside. They're going side by side into the braking zone. Later on the brakes for the AlphaTauri. Rob's going to have to settle down and stay behind the AlphaTauri this time round. Meanwhile, further back, again, Kamarov and Spread switching positions. They're going to be doing this a lot of time. And like I say, Kamarov has got that 3-second time penalty as well to worry about, so I think either way, whoever comes out of this across the line first is not going to be necessarily keeping their position if Kamarov is ahead. Meanwhile, Jesus and Hugh are having a little battle into turn 1. Jesus has got the inside line, Hugh with a much better exit on all the mediums, but Fresher Softs is now going to try and have a look around the outside corner, but it's not really quite going to work out for the Alpine there. This is a battle for the top 10. That's a few crucial points in the championship there as well. Meanwhile, the Mercedes is all over the back of the AlphaTauri into the first DRS zone. He's going to have a try and have a look there. Oh, it gets perilously close. They're almost side by side into the braking zone. The Mercedes is ahead, and a little bit wayward is the AlphaTauri on the exit. Like I said, this man is driving possessed, and now he's going to start chasing down THC, and THC is going to have to worry a little bit. There is only 4 more laps left of this Grand Prix, and that might be enough time for the Mercedes to try and catch the car ahead, but it's not over yet. This fight isn't over. Phantom Dragon is going to come back at him with the DRS. He's closing. He's going to have a look down the inside. Yes, he's going to try it. Late on the brakes. He's got the inside line. There's a little bit of wheel banging. Mercedes is really dragging him out all the way to the wall. They're still going side by side into the next corner. This time, the AlphaTauri is much more ahead, and the Mercedes has let that one go. And that could be crucial, as that might save THC the chance to keep hold of P2. The end of this race, and it is now really heating up. Meanwhile, the battle between P10 with Jesus and the Red Bull of Hugh, and he's absolutely tried his best to hold on to P10 there, is that Red Bull, but he is really struggling on those tyres. There's not much grip left in them, and there's still a few laps to go for those drivers. Meanwhile, Kamarov is going very wide there, but he's still very close to the back of Spread into the next corner. Not quite anything going to happen there just yet. Oh dear lord. I just coughed a lung up there. And by sheer excitement, meanwhile, the Alpine's going to almost have a look down to the next corner. That could have got very close indeed. Me and Kamarov has now got through past Spread, but Spread's now going to have the DRS to try and get back past. They're going to go side by side on the run towards the final corner. The Rebels and the Alpine behind still fighting as well. Go back to the Mercedes as he's now going to have another lot. Not quite going to be anything happening there just yet. Spread is now back past the AlphaTauri, further behind the Alpine and the Rebel. Going to go side by side. This is on the inside, round the outside for the Rebel. He's got a much better line if he needs to get the exit. He has got the exit, but now he's not got the DRS. Going back on board with the Alpine now, heading around the start finish straight. He's not got any DRS to play with. I think the Red Bull has that much more, and it's helping him. He's not quite going to get alongside enough to go down the inside. 3 laps to go on this Grand Prix now. A lot of crucial positions here to play for, and almost side by side for around the outside for Spread in that corner is a beautiful stuff there from the Alfa Romeo to get that position, but back down the inside goes Kamarov. He's not quite giving up this position, and he is fighting with everything he has in that car. Oh, there's still almost side by side, but now Spread has that move done and dusted, but he's going to be in a bit of trouble as there's a ghost car looking at this and getting absolute front row seats, but he could be interfering a bit with this, and I dare say there might be a few unfriendly words having there, as now around the outside, down the inside goes Kamarov on that corner. Oh, that's beautiful stuff, and that ghost car's just be like, oh, I'll have that as well. Going back on board, Spread has got the DRS this time, going towards the final corner. They're still battling out very aggressively. The Spread is now around the outside. Cameron's going to fight this down the inside. He's much later on the brakes. Oh, they're almost right. God, they've touched wheels. That could have been very hairy Larry. Meanwhile, further up ahead, Robert, the Mercedes and AlphaTauri getting a bit scary. AlphaTauri's still staying ahead. Oh, both the AlphaTauris are making a mincemeat of this race. And oh no, Hilly's out! Hilly's out of the race. He's crashed. Oh no! Oh, it's heartbreaking for the McLaren. He was doing so well and holding on, and he is now out of the Grand Prix on the last 2 laps. Oh dear. Absolute heartbreak for the McLaren driver. Oh dear, oh dear. And that has promoted Jesus back into the top 10 without even having to fight for it now. Oh, it's all kicking off here. I can't keep up. Oh my god. Everyone is battling everywhere, and the battles are absolutely unbelievable. Here we go. Attempt number God knows, as the final lap has been started by Axel. We'll jump on board with him towards the end, but we cannot leave out these two battling as they're going to go down the inside. This time Spread's going to make the move, and off the track goes the AlphaTauri, and wide goes there, and look at that, Scott's coming through out of nowhere. The Mercedes joins in this battle. Oh, they're going 3 wide towards the final corner. It's anyone's guess who's going to come out on top of this. Oh, did that Mercedes come out of nowhere? That shocked both Spread and Kamarov going into this battle as they almost make contact again through the final corner. These 3 are giving it absolutely everything here on the final few laps. Heading down towards turn 1 now, going on board with the Alfa Romeo as Kamarov is now going to go much later on the brakes. Look how late he is. He's going to get through there potentially. Better exit there from the Alfa Romeo though, and that's allowed him to keep that position. Meanwhile, Scott's having a look. He had a pretty good exit, but not quite anything going to happen just yet. Meanwhile, the race leader is absolutely flying into the final sector now. We'll have a look at this whilst we have the chance to keep an eye on the timing screens, as these are so very close. Axel has been unchallenged through this whole race. He goes into the final corner for the final time. It has been an absolute dominant performance there from Axel, leading this race from the start. And it's P1 for Axel. He wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And not over yet is the battle for P3. Mercedes is going to take it on the final corner. He does that inside, but look at that. Phantom Dragon sends it up the inside, and oh, it's not worked out. He's lost the back end. Oh, that is curtains there for the podium. He almost had it. He had it with one hand. Meanwhile, further back. Oh, there's been an incident. Spread's had an incident. He's run out of fuel. I think. Yes, he's run out of fuel. Oh, my word. Scott's going to take it if he can get the gap. Oh, they almost made contact. Is he going to hold on to it? 3 second time for each of them. Scott's not going to get it on the line. Kamarov goes through P6. And oh my word, Spread has bottled it. He's almost, oh, look at that. Oh, and these two are going to go side by side. Oh, look at that gap. 0.06 thousandths there between them two. And that really kicked off at the end of that race. P2 for THC, P3 for Robbo, and Spread bottle job in it for P8. Now that got very hectic in the end there. Now we've got a few people on different platforms there, so I'm going to see if I can get them in a Discord call for the podium interview, so bear with me a second. Phew! Let's breathe for a second there, holy shit! Oh my word. Ay 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 ay. I tell you what, I don't have a voice channel in here. That might be a bit difficult for me. Hang on, bear with me. Those in the... Wow, that was the most intense end to a Grand Prix I think I've ever commentated on. Wow, wow, wow. Let's get Robbing, because I think Rob will have these guys on the Xbox at least. No, I've invited him to the wrong thing. Oh, hang on. Shit, no. Shit. Not that one. Shit. Oh, dear me. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. You can tell I'm very prepared for this. Let's find him on here. There he is. Invite to the party there. Bing bong indeed. CL16, we'll try and see if we can get him in. Let's give that a quick search. Look at this, multitasking at the highest of standards. Send him a fat invite. Send Rob another invite. We've got CL in here. Oh, I think he's trying to get that. The Xbox party's on PC, or a bit laggy.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. He's here. You don't need to include your auto. Don't need to worry about that.
Right.
Just wait and see if we can get Robbo in, and unfortunately we won't be able to get Axel in because I haven't quite prepared the voice channel, or I haven't got a voice channel prepared in the Discord chat, unfortunately. Come on, Robbo! Well, I think that might be it. We'll see have it. Oh, there we go. There's Rob.
Hello.
Right, because I don't know people's name, but C, are you Axel or are you?
I'm Axel.
You're Axel, right? Fantastic. That's great. Right, so we'll start with you then. That was an absolute dominant performance, I have to say so. Led that from start to finish with a little bit of a battle at the start there to get ahead, but I mean that was fantastic. I mean, absolutely dominant. I mean, I almost didn't even get on board with your origin in that race. They were so far ahead. Talk us through your race.
Well, I did a quali lap. It was good enough for pole, so and yeah, I knew with the Williams I would probably be a bit faster than with the Alpha Tauri, and I got a really good start. Hilly didn't have the pace in the beginning, so I created a gap pretty quick. And then Robbo got ahead of Hilly, and then I got a little scared, but the pace was still strong. I kept them behind. I had a few mistakes, so Robbo caught up from time to time, but yeah, in the end when I did my pits and all that, I was just quicker, and the gap went up very fast in the end, and it was just very calm out there.
Yeah, like I say, very good idea and a very good qualifying lap. I think that's probably the biggest gap I've seen from pole position, nearly 3/10. Moving on, Robbo,
Hello.
you've had a few moments there. I think at one point, I think you might have had a bit of an incident with the likes of Karov and Spread and all that, with that
Yes.
battle that was going on for what seemed like the entire race. Talk us through that one.
Well, I was sat behind. So first of all, I thought I'd pit a few laps later. That didn't work out. They all undercut me. And then I was just sat behind the three of them battling for ages. I managed to build up from like 10% battery to 100% after X amount of laps. So I was literally coasting, just lifting off before each braking zone because obviously those were going wheel to wheel. And then a few of them were flashing, so I thought I'd push. And then yeah, I may or may not have just killed camera off
May or may
a little
not.
bit.
Admin privileges. We'll put it under the side table.
No, I'll put my own clip in because I know, well, I don't know if he would, but I thought he might say, oh, because he told me in the pie it's okay. So I thought he might not put a clip in, so I'll put a clip in. So I'm hoping I get a penalty because I do actually did terrible.
Well,
It was terrible.
I'll have to admit that's probably the first time I'll ever hear a driver saying, "I'm hoping I'm getting a penalty." So, I mean, yeah, fair play for that one, man.
But yeah,
Another
I
interesting
thought
thing.
that it was fun and yeah, I had the pace to finish P2, but yeah, just a few strategy calls, pitting too late and little things like
Yeah,
that.
that was the next thing I was going to move on to. Thing you left it very late, your very long first stint, there, and I'm thinking this might backfire a little bit, which in the end it kind of did, didn't it? You came out a little bit too far back.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd give myself the offset, so I'd have fresh tyres. And I was trying to look at the mini map whilst driving around Jeddah, and that's just not safe
Oh,
because there's corners every 3 seconds. So I was trying to look to see if they had come out in traffic or not. Um, and I was hoping that they'd get held up in that, obviously on fresh tyres, and some lads were on hards. But yeah, I must have just read it wrong. And, yeah, I couldn't ever make it up.
definitely backfired, but I think in the end, still, you are, even though you had a little bit of an incident, you are still my driver of the day because that pace in that final stint was unbelievable.
Thanks, mate.
Anyway, moving on, we've got the next race coming up, which is Interlagos or Brazil. Axel, how are you feeling about that one?
It's fun. I haven't driven it at all this game,
I haven't either.
so it's gonna be interesting to see the pace.
And Rob, take your thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't driven it either, so should be fun. I just wonder how much Axel's going to win by. And you are not going in that Williams again.
Yeah, I figured.
That's it. One too many wins, and that's it. You're out. You're sacked. Go to
My my
AlphaTauri,
first ever win, and I get demoted.
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
That's the harsh world of admin privileges for you. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, that were absolutely fantastic race. An absolute 100% must watch back. I'm a little bit out of breath and exhausted, and that was probably the most intense end to the race. Thank you for joining us, and see us next week at the same time when we take the likes of Brazil. Let's see who comes out on top of that jungle. Goodbye, everyone.